Blog Talk Radio.
It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace. Drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no options. I ain't take your options. Nah, I'm not the problem. Man, that's on you, yeah. You've been terrorizing me, yeah, I'm always wrong. I knew you lost your mind when you dropped that bomb. Girl, are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy. I've been thinking lately it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me. Baby, it's you. Lie like a rat, but take your stuff back. Baby, it's you. Baby, it's you. Whatever, and I would never hear. You've been flexing everywhere. Girl, look in the mirror. Man, you're so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me. But baby, it's you. Lie like a rat, but take your stuff back. Baby, it's you. Your parade, shine, you can't shake, yeah. If I was Father Time, then I would change the day, so I never saw your face. Please, what do I have to do to make you?
Hello. I am your host, Simo, of What's Really Going On Blog Talk Radio Show and Podcast. I am super excited that you are here to hang out with me tonight. Simo, before I get into tonight's episode, I always like to give a special shout out to everybody that listens in around the globe. So without further ado, I'd like to give a special shout out to Tanzania, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, China, India, Pakistan, Japan, Russia, Sweden, Norway, the United Kingdom, France, Italy, Algeria, Egypt, Sudan, Nigeria, South Africa, Brazil, Mexico, Canada, and of course, rounding it out, the United States. So tonight, I wanted to talk about relationships. What do people look for in relationships nowadays? And then also, someone posed a question online the other day, and they were talking about, the question was, if you meet a guy that's in his 40s and he doesn't have any kids, he's never been married, what would you think of him? Would you think, something must be wrong with him because he's 40 and he's not married yet, and he doesn't have any kids, so is he gay or something like that, right? So a lot of people's responses were, the first thing that they think is that he's gay, or something has to be wrong with him, like he has maybe doesn't know how to interact with people, or doesn't know how to interact with women, and that's basically what they thought, because he's and then on the Ricky Smiley show, he actually mentioned, he said, would you be thinking that he's just trying to secure the bag, or make his money and get his life right before he jumps into a relationship? And you know what? When I think about it, what when you see a female that's 40 years old, she doesn't have any kids, and she's not married, she's good looking, whatever, has a good job, what do you think about her? Do you think is something must be wrong with her? Is she gay, or is she just trying to secure the bag, just trying to get her life right before she gets into a relationship? And so tonight's episode, anyway, it's basically about relationships. What do people look for in a relationship? What are things that are important to you in a relationship? I think at the age that I am now, I think in a relationship, it's communication. Communication is very key, and I think that when you communicate certain things with your partner, you have expectations. They may have expectations, and so you kind of want to meet each other's expectations. And then if you're not communicating certain things to each other, of course, those expectations can't be met or won't be met. I think communication is really, really key. I think respect is really important. I think trust is really important. But let's go back to the communication piece. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you text them constantly, or you guys text a lot throughout the day, and then all of a sudden your partner he drops off a little bit, you're going to automatically think he's not being honest about something. Like, why are you not? Most people will say, well, I was busy, I was with my friends, whatever. But I think that's where that communication piece comes in. You got to stay consistent with what you're doing with your partner. That's one way to avoid any misunderstanding. Now, I was looking at this thing online that talked about the 5 major things that you need in your relationship. And of course, communication was number 1. And it says, though, you definitely heard the very cliche, communication is key. But here's the thing, it's a cliche for a reason. Good communication is one of the most important aspects to having a healthy relationship. Especially when starting a new relationship, it's important to be able to talk about what you both want and expect. Sometimes this means being honest and having uncomfortable conversations. And I think a lot of times the reason why people don't communicate is because there are things that they just don't feel comfortable talking about. It makes them uncomfortable, and they think it's going to make you uncomfortable. And they also sometimes think if they're honest about certain things with you, that you're going to feel offended, you're going to feel some kind of way, it's going to cause an argument. But I think it's best, I would rather for somebody to be upfront and honest and communicate with me about their wants, needs, and expectations before we go further into the relationship, and then, we're not on the same page. Okay? All right. So one of the other things was respect, right? Listening to your partner. I mean, I don't mean just like, I mean, listening, like really actively listening to what they're saying. Understand where they're coming from. What is their perspective on different things in your relationship? And that goes both ways. It's very important to respect each other's boundaries and things like that. You have to have a mutual respect for each other. You can't be going out here doing one thing, telling your partner you're doing something else, and expect there to be respect in the relationship, because you're going to lose some of that. Okay, boundaries. Um, we all have certain things that will be acceptable for us or unacceptable. Um, Now, if you don't want to be in a relationship where you're going to communicate with each other every day, you're only going to communicate sometimes. Maybe y'all only going to hang out a couple of times a week, or more or less. Then you gotta let people know that's what it is. But that goes back to that communication. You have to let people know what the expectation is. You understand what I'm saying? So that there is no miscommunication and everybody is on the same page. If everybody is not on the same page, then you're going to have problems, okay? Trust. Trust is a big one. But then again, that also comes into play. What comes into play with that is also basically like the communication part. Um, and sometimes when your lack of communication, miscommunications happen, and then it kind of breaks down the trust in a relationship. Something might happen, and then when your partner is telling you one thing and then doing something else, that trust issue is always going to be there, and it might make you feel some type of way. All right, now in this segment, this is One Love. This is an article that I'm reading. The other thing is support. One of the best things about a healthy relationship is having a supportive partner who has your back, whether it's sticking up for you when someone says something mean about you, or always being a rock that you can rely on in a healthy relationship. And I can tell you, if you have a partner like that that's going to support you and applaud you when you're doing amazing things, let you know when you're not doing so great or amazing things, being upfront and honest with you and always communicating with you, that's an awesome thing. That's an amazing thing to have, to be a part of, to let just let the person know that you're being supportive or whatever. Now those were just traits. So some people said that the five, this in this article, it says basically that the five major traits or five essential traits of a lasting relationship, or what people are looking for, is communication, respect, boundaries, trust, and then support, right? Nowadays, though, relationships are so strange because I hear it's a lot of relationship gurus and stuff, and they talk about, high value men and high value women, and it's this one guy, Kevin Samuels. He's always on the air talking about, well, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? Well, you're considered average. You might not never get somebody that makes this amount of money. Well, how much money do you make? Well, you're probably not going to get this guy because you're not, in the same category as him. Is that necessarily true though? Is that necessary? People can't just meet each other and just have this, maybe just be attracted to each other, and then that's when the communication part comes in. But on the first date, we're going to talk about how much money you make a year. And what do you bring to the table? And he's always talking about, well, miss, what are you going to bring to the table? But we live in a world now where women build their own table. You understand what I'm saying? Some people might just be looking for somebody to hang out with. So it really don't matter how much. And when you get to a certain age, you're usually already established in your life. Now, if you're 50, 55, 60 years old and you're still looking for somebody to build something with you, what have you been doing for the first 45, 49 years of your life? What have you been doing? Like, who's gonna help you